Welcome to the Becoming Ageless podcast, where we engage in extended conversations to promote a youthful biological age and improved health span. I'm your host, Robynn Fredericks, holistic and integrative health practitioner. Welcome to our very first bonus episode on Becoming Ageless. I'm really excited about this because this is where I've chosen to kind of skip the science and sprinkle a bit of motivation, showcasing how someone has realized the importance of health later in their life and made some real changes, not by being perfect, but by being determined. I hope this will drop every probably third episode, and I'm really excited to hear what you guys have to say about this. And if you really like it, we'll keep on going. If not, we'll go back to pure science. But every third episode of season 2, you'll find these. So this week, we are showcasing Molly Sheridan. She's an ultramarathon runner and adventurer. At 48 years old, Molly entered her first marathon, and just 4 weeks into training, she injured her foot and was told that she was too old to be running. How many times have we heard that? As you can imagine, this has only inspired her to take her body and her health more seriously and figure out her own path. Molly corrected her training, completed the race, and I love this. She mailed her finish line picture to the very doctor who told her she was too old. As a novice runner, she entered the Rio del Lago 100-mile endurance race, traversing a 100-mile nonstop through Northern California, where she discovered her love of endurance running, her youthful mind, and her adventurous spirit. Overall, Molly has run well over 45 marathons. In 2009, she completed the extreme running event Marathon Des Sables, a 7-day, 150-mile stage race across the Sahara Desert. A week later, Molly completed the 135 nonstop Badwater Ultramarathon, which is an invitation-only event. It's considered to be the toughest foot race on the planet, beginning at Badwater Death Valley, which is the lowest in the continental U.S., and it ends at Mount Whitney Portal, a 13,000-foot vertical ascent. The documentary, Molly's Run, chronicles her Badwater run, in which she received the coveted buckle for finishing under the 48-hour time limit. Craziness, right? Still inspirational. It's amazing. But she has been featured in the Women Who Move article in the Women's Running magazine. She's been featured in multiple documentaries, podcasts, radio shows, and so much more. She's the founder and owner of Desert Sky Adventures, and she encourages others to walk and run for their health. She also speaks to audiences across the country on her exploits and the benefits of running for health, and continues to run adventure races and ultra marathons around the globe. It is the adventure that keeps her coming back for more, and the inspiration that brings her to our podcast. Now, on to the show. We are here right now with Molly Sheridan. Molly, hello.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
Oh my gosh, I have heard so many good things about you. Your husband, of course, Bill Andrews, Dr. Bill Andrews, which we've had on the show multiple times. He just speaks the world of you, and that's how I learned all about you. And I am so excited, and I know all of our listeners are, to hear your story, because I think that you can really speak to everybody in this age range, even people who are up and coming, who are still babies yet. Oh my God. You have so much to share, so much wisdom to give out. And I'm excited to get into this.
Well, thank you. I'm too, just ready to go.
Let's go for it. Okay. Well, first of all, you guys have already heard from the intro. Molly is an ultramarathon runner. She has won multiple awards. She has documentary. She's been on many different, she's been featured in many different shows, podcasts, speaking adventures. Oh my gosh, I don't know if there's anything you haven't done. But I want to hear, if we can go back just a little bit to when you first started. I've got my notes here. You were 48 years old and you entered your first race. You tell me just a little bit about that. And shortly after you got injured. So, were you exercising before? Were you running? What happened? How did you get here?
Well, I was like most people, 48, working full time. I was an event planner and I had 3 kids, super busy. Actually just doing multiple things that moms and people that work full time do. And my really close friend, Kylie Johnson, called me. She's back east, and she called me and said, "Hey, Molly, do you want to run a marathon?" And I said, "Oh God, no, absolutely not. Like, what are you talking about?" I mean, I just got off work. I'm freaking tired. I had had a super busy week. I'm on committees. I work. I have kids, and it's like, do you want to work? Work a marathon. It's kind of what I heard in my head. And I said, no. I'm pouring myself a glass of wine. I'm sitting down, and I'm laughing at her, thinking, poor Kylie's having a nervous breakdown or something. And so she said, "No, no, come on, it'll be really fun, and we'll have a girls' weekend." Now, I'd never heard marathon in the same sentence as fun or girls' weekend,
Right.
but I still said no. I said, "How far is that?" Like, "Isn't that like 26 miles?" And she goes, "Yeah, yeah, it'll be so fun. Oh my God, we can have the weekend, blah, 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 blah." And I said, Kylie, no, I'm beat, ha ha, absolutely not." I hung up the phone. Okay, that night, I could not sleep. I'm still thinking, poor Kylie, like, what is wrong with her? Like, I can't even imagine 26 miles. And in my head, I'm thinking, what? Like, I can't even imagine. But there was something, that thin thread that sometimes happen in our lives where, somebody put something in there. And I was punching my pillows, just really beside myself, thinking, so what happened was that the next day I called her. I go, "Okay, you know what? What's the fun part again?" And she goes, "Oh my gosh, it's the Marine Corps Marathon. We'll train. We have 6 months, and we'll go, and we'll have, a super fun weekend in Washington, D.C." And she spun this magical story. And I didn't know at that time anybody who ran. My friends in the circle I was in were not active. Kylie's on the East Coast. So we decided to download a program to, on in the internet that it was a running program, how to do a marathon in like 6 months or whatever.
Right.
And the funny is, this just gets funnier and funnier because, okay, I know nothing. I'm going on the girls' weekend. I look at the schedule. I don't know anything. I just I put on a cute outfit. I start running up and down the street. I'm dying. It's miserable. Where's the fun? Right?
Uh-huh.
Right? So about 4 weeks in, since I didn't know any better, I'm just thinking, okay, it's no pain, no gain. You're just supposed to be out there miserable, running up and down. My ankle hurt.
No.
Then it's really gets swollen. Then I go to this doctor, and they take an x-ray, and the doctor, and meanwhile, right, I'm about 48, 49 years old. So the doctor's really younger guy, I'd say in his 30s. He comes in, he goes, "You have a stress fracture. What are you doing?" And I go, "Oh, I'm running and training for this marathon." He goes, "How old are you?" And okay, nobody had ever asked me in my life how old I am. I never heard that. Like, I
Uh-huh.
go, "Oh, well, I'm 48. I'm getting ready to turn 49." He goes, "Oh, you're too old to be running. Pick a different sport."
Oh my God.
I know. I was like, wait. And then I said, wait, wait. I have this goal now. This is important.
It's a girls'
I feel like I
weekend.
need it. It's like, don't try to take that from me now that I'm trying to improve myself. I think I made a mistake. He goes, "No, look what you've done. Look what you've done to yourself. Put the boot on, and you're done."
Oh.
Okay. So I got in my car, and first I cried. I was so mad. And I was mad about a lot of things. I was mad that suddenly I thought I really wanted to improve myself. I'm crying because I didn't know better. I'm crying. I'm just furious because he told me I was old.
Right.
That was another thing. It's just like, oh, you just told the wrong person that they're old.
Right.
So I went home, got on the internet, and I found if you have a stress fracture, you can do pool running. And so I got in the pool for 6 weeks every day, pissed off.
Oh, wow.
That's the truth. I was so mad. I was in there running, and it's really hard you put a floaty around your waist, you get in the pool, and you really work it. And for 6 weeks, I did that until when I got out of the pool, I was still fit and I could continue my program, and my foot was okay. And I'll tell you, I've done 85 ultra marathons. That's the only injury I ever had because I learned from that experience about how not to.
Right.
And
That's
I know I'm talking about just butt in if you have anything
yeah,
you wanna say, but I'm
yeah.
just saying that it changed my life because I went to that marathon. I finished it with Kylie. We laughed our asses off the entire race. It wasn't about time or we just wanted to finish, but it was so fun. We were dancing at all the bands on and we were running. We go, let's pretend we're running through the mall, all this. We were just doing goofy stuff the whole time. We finished
Motivation.
that and my mind just expanded to like, oh my gosh, I always thought of myself as super wimpy, kind of like never really experienced any type of athletic ability. And this marathon was like the monster. And when I finished, all I could think of was how far can I go? Wow, like I just did that. Like that's what started this whole thing. And it was like, and then I sent a picture of myself at the finish line, finishing it. And I wrote that doctor a letter and I said, hey, if you have any old broads that come into your office and want to prove themselves, please don't tell them that they can't do it. Here's some pool. And I gave him all the instructions of what to do for a stretch. I never heard from him again and I didn't care. It was just a nice ending to the story that, hey, I'll prove you wrong.
I love that. I mean, oh my gosh, that's exactly how I am. And I know it's only water, but cheers to Kylie.
Exactly. I still a dear friend to this day. I just love
That's
her.
awesome. Awesome. Hopefully she hears this story and has a good laugh too. That is
Oh, yeah.
amazing. And oh my gosh, you have been at this ever since. That anger inside of you has
Yeah.
turned into a driving passion and you
Yeah.
now
And
go
then
around the world.
when I finished that, I immediately signed up for a 50K. I thought, why not? I mean, I'm just gonna a 50K is only 6 miles longer than a marathon. It's 31 miles. And I just said, you know what? I know it sounds crazy, but I just wanted to see how far I could go. I wanted to and so from the 50K, then I signed up for a 50 miler, which was crazy. I mean, I didn't even tell anybody because I couldn't take negative.
Yeah.
I didn't wanna hear, "You're too old, you're too short, you're too tall, you're too pretty, you're not pretty enough." I couldn't take it. I just couldn't. I just wanted to go myself, and I'm at the start line looking around, and I'll tell you, in my head, I'm thinking, "God, am I too old?" Like, it like, is like, there's a lot of youngsters around me. But after a while, I was like, the truth is I didn't really care.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's for myself and for what I wanna do, and I just found out that I had the endurance to be able to do it, and I absolutely loved it. I'm out there smiling like a crazy person because it's so fun.
Oh gosh. Molly, that is such a great story. And what a way to begin the show. I mean, when you signed up for that second one, a little bit further, I know trying to push yourself and see how far you could go, and you've gone further, much further since then. I mean, what kind of doubts were going in your mind? I mean, besides age, where you're like, "Oh, I can't do this." I mean,
Right.
what about business? What about the kids? What about
Yeah.
everything?
Well, I was very stealth about it. I saw this race, it was called the Calico Ghost Race, and it was in California, right outside Barstow, and I was looking at the pictures online about, oh my gosh, it was a deserty race, it was up and down mountains, and it looks so cool, and I signed up for it, and I didn't tell anyone because like I said, I had no confidence. I just wanted to go experience it. So I figured, and in ultra marathons, just for those who don't know, you have a certain amount of time. Maybe for 50K, they give you 8 hours because you're going over mountains and stuff. You have to move. You can't mess around.
Yeah.
And you get to aid stations like every 5 to 7 miles. There's an aid station to get your water and get your food. Then you have to keep moving and you get to finish. And 50 miles, that's usually maybe 15 hours. And then 100 miles, it's like 30 hours. Again, you don't people say, "Well, how long do you sleep?" You don't sleep. You go through the night and you keep moving till you get to the finish. That's what's so it's adventurous about it is that you just keep moving and you train your body, to really do the endurance and the distance. So
Yeah.
that first 50K, I just said, well, I'm just going to see how I do. So I went, stayed in the hotel by the race. I got up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And honestly, it's kind of like I look back and then I was even kind of laughing to myself, going, Have I lost my mind? Like, what in the world? Like, I
Uh-huh.
showed up at the start line. And honestly, there was this kid next to me. He's like 19 or so. And he's in it was really cold. It was brutally cold. It was like 25 degrees, 30 degrees. It was, they had a cold chill coming to California at this mountain. It's like everyone's freezing. I have a jacket on, and this kid, he's in a singlet, little tank top, and shorts.
Uh-huh.
And he says, "Oh my God, I just came from like Illinois. I thought it was California was gonna be warm." And I go, "You need to go get a sweatshirt at the gift shop right now because it's not gonna get warmer or you're not gonna make it."
Yeah.
So he goes off and he does that. And I'm thinking, maybe I'm here to be a mother. Maybe that's my purpose. I'm just gonna be out here mothering people. I mean, all this stuff's going, what? What am I doing there? What?
Yeah.
What is it? And I started off in that, and the adventure and the excitement when I got to the aid stations, filling up my water and getting and the aid station people go, "Oh, you're doing really good." And it was like one of the most exciting personal things I'd ever done for myself.
Right.
After, I think I'm a really great mom, and I always want to help the community. And at the time, I had other things I did, but nothing really for myself personally. And
Yeah.
that like fulfilled this adventurous part that I really uncovered. I finished that race, and I called my daughter after when I finished, and Bailey, and I said, "Hey, I'm at the finish line. I just finished this 50K race." And while I'm talking to her, they say, "Molly Sheridan, 3rd place, da, 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 in your age group." I go, "I think I just won something." It's like, wait, what? So I'll call you back. So I got this big giant trophy, my
Oh my
very first
gosh.
50K.
Yeah.
And again, there wasn't that many 50-year-old women, especially this has been 15 years. There was not a lot of women in any of the ultras I went to. It
Yeah.
was like that was the other challenge, is that it was it wasn't like a popular, thing that people were gravitating for. I just kind of fell into it and thought it was really, really interesting. So yeah, I did place in a lot of that, but I'm really happy to say that a lot more women now are in the sport. It's really nice to see. I mean, I used to sign up for 100-mile races, and I'd go to get my bib, and they'd say, "Oh, the volunteers are over here." And I go, "Oh, no, I'm running." They go, "You're running?" I go,
Oh
"Yeah,
my
I'm doing
gosh.
100, like whatever."
That is amazing. I didn't know that about ultra marathons. I always figured they ran for so many hours and they went and got a hotel someplace and then they got up the next morning. So it's straight through on these really
Yes.
long. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
yeah, you go until, you go 24, 30 hours, whatever it is, until the cutoff. And then during the race, like, there's major cutoffs, like 8 hours into it. If you aren't at a certain point, you're just pulled off the course. You have to keep moving. And
Right.
then that's what makes it so fascinating.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we're gonna get into so much. Oh my goodness. I just had a girlfriend, a neighbor of mine with a couple of her other former college roomies. I think they were all college mates. And she's my age. She's late 50s now, and all of her friends are obviously the same age, late 50s, 60s. And they did a 3-day walk, and none of them were walkers. And so they started getting out. At least my neighbors started getting out every single day. And she learned how to do training, and she was serious with it. The others, they were just like, "What are you doing? I mean, it's a big party. We're gonna be down in Southern California at San Diego. We're gonna go to this bar and then that bar. And they've got, beer stations for us." And she was like, "What are you talking about? We can't be drinking beer while we're walking. We have a race to do." And she
Yeah.
said that most of them dropped out. Um, she was like one of the only ones that finished, and she did great. But that's work, Molly.
It is. You know what, though? If you could picture like a fast backpack. I'm not a speed person. It's not my gift. You see the marathons, people really running and are
Yeah.
super fast, 5, 6, 10-minute miles. I'm not. That's never been my gift. It never resonated with me,
Mhm.
but I can move like run, walk.
Yeah.
And like I can go like a 12-minute mile all day
Yeah.
and then through the night and tomorrow. I'll see you
Yeah.
tomorrow. I mean, but that's like endurance that you build as you go.
Right.
And just I find it joyful. I find it meditative. I find it like a stress reducer.
Yeah.
I think really through on problem solving sometimes when I'm out there. Sometimes I listen to music, sometimes I don't. It's just such a beautiful way to move. And everybody's got their own gig, running or walking or bike or whatever. Walking, I just want to say this too. And for anybody listening to me saying, "Oh my gosh, that's too long," I get it. I get what I'm talking about. It's a little bit outside the box. So some people maybe they'll hear it and ooh, I want to try that. But walking itself, I really try to encourage people 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day. I mean, I know that if you talk to Dr. Bill, the scientific peer reviewed studies about what walking and running, the benefits and the extension on your lifespan, it's incredible. It's
Yeah.
huge and it doesn't take a lot. You don't have to go crazy ultras like we're talking about. I'm just
Right.
saying, so much less. And the other
That's
thing too,
passion.
hey, and I'll tell you, I've done a lot of walking tours. I did the Camino de Santiago across Spain,
Oh,
that all those I don't know if you've heard about that. That's a beautiful way to have exercise and also go on an adventure that's a walking adventure. Look it up, Camino
nice.
de Santiago. Then the sister of that is it's a pilgrimage in Spain, and the sister pilgrim is the Kumano in Japan.
Okay.
That's the other one. It's a spiritual journey through the forests of Japan. And I did
Nice.
both of them, and you get a certificate for pilgrimage when you do both of those. And then you go into this temple and you beat a drum in Japan and they give you the certificate. It's like there's all these really incredible adventures that aren't necessarily running, but it's movement.
Yeah.
There's so many cool, wonderful things to do that elevate your mind and really help you with all your everyday other stuff that we all do.
Yeah.
It enhances everything.
Absolutely. And I mean, being, the wife of Dr. Bill, you've got to, know about, the BDNF that you're creating in your brain. And like you said, meditation, the stress relief, cutting back on cortisol. I think that is amazing. I know a lot of people are going to be like, meditation? How can she meditate when she's like, because that's all I would be thinking about. Can you go into just touching on that a little bit of
Yeah.
how are you doing this?
Well, first of all, I don't want another job. Okay, running is not a job, walking or exercise. I am a real proponent that whatever it is that you're choosing to do for your movement, it has to have a certain level of fun.
Yeah.
And then people say back to me, "Oh, sure, what's fun about going to the Himalayas and being the first American woman to do 18,000 feet, all this stuff I did?"
Kind of
Hey,
fun.
I'm telling you, I have to have a certain amount of brevity and fun in that, or I don't want to do it. I wouldn't do it. I have to have something that's like so, fulfilling. So I'm not going to go out there and pound it. And yes, I do train and I train hard for it, but I'm finding the joy in it. It's joy to me.
Yeah.
And I think also, I don't put a lot of pressure on myself when I am training. I don't go out there and go huff and puff and just dying. I'm running and walking. Some days, if it's not hitting me and it's like, oh, this is like verging on a really tough workout, then I'm just going to bring it down slower. I'm going to go in my meditative and I'm going to walk for a minute, run for a minute, walk for a minute, get into a rhythm that's comfortable
Yeah.
and shorten the amount of time that I'm out there because it's not working, and then there's also tough times when you have to, okay, hey, I have to put this time in and let's make it happen. How can I make it happen happy?
Yeah. Yeah. So you
So
sound kind of like something that I'm always preaching to my clients, you guys and Instagram people of you made your body a partner. You listen to your body and your body kind of listened to you and you work together. You stopped when it said, "Oh, I can't do this anymore." And it gave you energy when you could do it some more. I mean, that's
that's
bravo,
right. Well,
my friend. That's
it's not to
amazing.
say I haven't had major challenges in these
Of
really big events
course.
I've done. There's been times when I really, I mean, it was like I had to do the Molly check, Molly, like, are any bones sticking out of your body? You're so miserable right now. No bones are sticking out. Do you have any injuries? No, I'm just miserable. I am so tired. I am really, but you do get your second wind and your third wind, and you do feel better down the road if if your goal is to finish and you're not injured, you make that other step to just keep moving. I think that's then we get into the talk about mental strength. Like, how bad do you want it? Why are you're going to ask yourself out there, why are you doing this? You better
Yes.
have a really good answer
Not
because,
just
right?
because.
Just because that in anything, it really relates to life, whatever you're doing. You better really want to get to certain points or goals in your life.
Right.
Same thing. So I
Right.
such metaphor for living is running.
Yeah, I like that. And it's kind of getting into, we all talk about, we don't do so much resolutions anymore. I think that's kind of like
Oh, I do.
bygone days. But
Oh,
yeah, you
I'm
do. Oh, well, I
oh,
mean, most of them still do, but we just term it differently. I think,
yeah.
instead of saying, I will join the gym and go 3 days a week or whatever, now people are coming up with like a word that motivates them that they move towards every single day. And I kind of have two words for me. Mine is, shine, which is part of my purpose, but also behind that is passion. And whether it's doing a podcast or doing my studies or meeting with the clients or taking my dog for a walk, I want to have passion when I'm going into it. And I look at every single event of where's the passion? How can I find the passion and move towards that?
Wow, that's powerful. That's
Yeah, and when you do that, I mean, oh my gosh, it makes everything more fun,
yes, absolutely.
and I can so see, I mean, the science person inside of me is like, she's creating hormesis and she's getting into that zone and it's the good and getting rid of the bad. Oh my gosh. So many different things. And I'm not going to go there because that's not what this is about. Um, you are now how old?
67.
67. You start at 48. I guess you're not working anymore. How long did you keep the event planning business after you started?
Well, I still have Desert Sky Ventures as my company. Yeah, we still
Okay.
have my daughters pretty much run it. I'm kind of just an overseer on the board. We just did a big giant event for Thanksgiving. It was downtown Reno. We had 2,500 people.
Gobble wobble.
Yep,
Yep.
gobble before you gobble. It was just, you know what? And it's a big family event. We give back to the community. All our events that we do have associated with a charitable partner.
Nice.
That's been so fulfilling. 11 years. It's been great.
Wow.
Um, I don't spend a lot of time on it again because my daughters are running it now. I'm mostly I really enjoy speaking and helping people to move and really to I understand being at zero. There's
Mhm.
lots of times I've been back to zero, meaning just for whatever reason, maybe it's a health reason, maybe it's somebody had an injury, somebody's really busy with family. You get back to a zero where you have to start again.
Mhm.
And I think what? People sometimes need a little bit of encouragement just to get back into it without beating themselves out. Don't beat yourself up and don't make it another job. Make it your gift to yourself. I
Yeah.
think the mindset, how you change and think about what you do for your body is so
Yeah.
important.
And I guess that's where the mental resilience and endurance comes from, the
Yep.
strength.
And yeah, adventure, adventure, adventure. It's, have some sense of adventure. Even picking a trail and getting
Yeah.
out there like forest therapy, seriously, they do
Yeah.
studies on that. And, having that time that I don't know. I don't see any negative to it ever. So I'm always surprised when people say, oh, I don't want to get out there. And it's like, or then what other things are you doing for yourself that helps you in that way?
Right. Right. Because you have to have that. You have to have, that mental challenge. But then so many people, when they retire, they let go of the mental challenges and they don't do anything. They're not still challenging themselves. So you're putting that in front of you. So your mind is still engaged, your body's engaged, you're still doing things
Right.
that matter to you.
Well, plus the new year for me is also my birthday. It's the birthday new year. So I always like to go, okay, here comes the new year. Like, what do I want to do this year? Like, I always have a really big goal,
Uh-huh.
something. I have a big race coming up, a couple of big ones. I keep thinking, okay, I really pay attention to my health. I really pay attention to my body. And these are big events and it takes a lot. And I keep thinking, like, I just did a 50-mile race at Tunnel Hill, which was in, back east, and, in November. It was just it was a race I wasn't sure, like, how I was gonna do. I just said, "You know what? I wanted to be just solid with my training going into it, and I'm thinking maybe one of the, maybe I'm gonna get to a point where it's gonna be my last one, how would I feel about this being my last one?" And
Uh-huh.
I took all the pressure off myself and had one of the best 50-mile races. It was so consistent. It was out there saying how I was out there just, "Hey, everybody, how's it going?" Saying hi to the runners and going to aid stations. And I had like one of the best races in the last, I mean, and I thought, okay, where did that come out of a hat? So, and so after I got that, I go, okay, guess I'm not done yet.
You're right.
And I'm glad I'm not. I mean, I will be the first one to say if I feel like there's a physical issue that's, because I think recovery's a little bit different now, I admit, than 15 years ago.
Right.
I, it takes a little bit longer. I think that, I've always had really terrible eyesight, even when I was in grade school as a kid. And I noticed when I do a 100-mile race, like, when you're going through all the night and then the shade and the depth perception of my vision, that
Mhm.
was a really big difference that was coming up, and I went and got some new glass prescriptions, ones that helped with the glare and the depth perception. So there's a few different equipment things I've done as I've
Right.
gotten older just to make sure that, I'm on it. I am really aware of how my body's feeling. Even when I'm training, I have a log. Hey, I have this weird feeling in my calf muscle or, and then I pay attention. Has that persisted? Is that gone? Is that, so that I'm really always knowing because I am not going to be, you know, in a position where I've overextended or overdone anything for myself. I
Right.
mean, I think that was my first lesson early on, right?
Yeah.
Pounding pavements, not paying attention, just not knowing
Yeah.
and just educating yourself and also having a coach or a mentor or somebody that you can check in with that also that you're accountable to about your training, about your health and being really honest about where you're at with your training. I think that's imperative.
Yeah.
I use Dr. Kaz Williams. She's in Chamonix. And I am a coach. I've coached people. I have all this knowledge, but having somebody you're accountable to, if you're really serious about doing any kind of activity, I think it's just really important. And it's like your therapist.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we can so easily convince ourselves that we need to be doing something else, but when there's somebody else on board, that's why I always say work out with somebody else or,
Yep.
any goal, have another person there because you are now
Exactly.
accountable.
Yeah.
Um, I want to get into, some of the things that you're eating and stuff like that. But before we do, I have to ask the question. So your daughters are involved in the events and everything now, the business. Are they I know one is a runner. Are they both or what's going on with that? And did you
They both
inspire them
have
to do
done
this?
ultra marathons, both of
Okay.
them. And I also have my son, my older son,
Okay.
he's up in Seattle. Um, I think, it's funny because I think I have inspired them to look into like what they want to be doing, which is really nice. So my both of them have experimented with ultras. My youngest just finished Western States 100. That's a huge, really popular race in the ultra running world. Anybody who knows anything, it's ultra. Western States was one of the very first 100-mile races, and it's tough and it's really hard. And she just accomplished that, so it's like wow. And then, but I first of all with kids, I've never pushed them into sports. I don't. I just lead by example, and it's like whatever they want to do is fine with me. My
Yeah.
middle daughter Bailey, she's really really into taekwondo, and that is her outlet and that's her gift, and she's so good, and I'm so proud of her, and I see her just
Yeah.
completing all these really incredible belts. So, as much as she did run, now she's into that, a little bit more climbing, which is and I'm all for whatever it is that you find that movement, like I was saying,
Yeah.
But, when they were teenagers when I did my first 100-mile race, so I asked them to come and crew for me, and okay, as teenagers are, they're going, "What are you doing now? Like, where do we have to be?" And then you just go to the aid stations, give me my water, and just meet me at the different aid stations. And it was kind of like, and I remember, so they were driving to the aid stations and I'm through these mountains and I'd come and meet them. And it was about the 80-mile mark and I am dying. I see them in the distance at the aid station and they're clapping and they're so excited. They're going, "Mom, mom." And I'm thinking, I'm a badass, I'm mother of the year. I'm thinking all this like, I am so cool. I run up to them and they go, "Mom, there are so many cute guys here. We'll crew you anytime." Like, "Oh, what do you need? Do you need some water? Look at that guy over there. He has no shirt on." I mean, it was like, was the funniest thing ever because it's like, no, I don't care what you're doing. You're not mother of the year. They're teenagers. And it's like, I at least put them around that. And they
Yeah.
had fun because, all these guys, hot guys were there. But the point is that you can't make your kids do anything. You can't force
Yeah.
anybody to, but I think the experiences they had being out in the woods
Mhm.
and seeing people, eventually my younger daughter said, "Hey, I think I can do that. I'd like to go try that." And that was after she was saying, "Oh, I think what you're doing is stupid." But, as a teenager.
Yeah.
I don't know. My point was, you can only just do what you do and then it rubs off on
Yeah.
whoever it doesn't. Like, that's
I
fine.
think, yeah, that's huge. Leading by example, whether it's your children or your neighbors, your friends, they see you out there and in the beginning they may be naysayers, but
Yeah.
eventually they see you still doing it. It's either they have to kind of look in the mirror and take responsibility or they have to leave your life.
Yeah.
They know for themselves, I have to get on board or jump ship, you
Yeah,
know?
and just how I feel about other people and what their habits are, and it's really I love to be inspired by others and learn what other people are doing, whether
Yes.
it's sports or nutrition or like what's the latest. I always want to know, and I don't have the answers for everybody. I can only
Right.
just say what I'm doing that you know hopefully
Exactly.
helps somebody want to just do a little bit
Better.
more to
Yeah.
help themselves.
I think that's great. Okay, so getting ready for these races, there's first of all, how much time? I know recovery. You said it's taking a little bit longer now, which is normal. How much time do you normally give yourself between these races, the big ones?
Um, I usually I try to. I know this sounds kind of crazy. I try to have something I'm doing every month. Like I
Okay.
like monthly races, like
Okay.
that just keeps me in the mode of my training and just steadfast. Sometimes it's a smaller race, like maybe it's a little smaller, 50K or a 30K.
Piece of cake.
And
Piece of
that's
cake.
to me. And again, I know it sounds, let me just tell you, I know it sounds far, but I think, you know, the way I attack it is like, I'm just like I said, it's different. Okay, okay, here's an example. All right. So I was I did have an injury in 2017. I was rappelling off a mountain and I slipped and jammed the heck out of my hip and I had to do a hip labrum tear. So they fixed it.
Mhm.
But they said, "Hey," and the doctor, he's laughing at me, because "I know you're an ultra runner or whatever. Can you not do ultras for a while? Fix this and then just do marathons." And I go, "Okay." So I decided to do the world marathons, fix it. Yeah. Berlin, Tokyo, New
Sure enough.
York, Boston. I did them all. Okay. But then when I did those marathons, they were so much harder than an ultra marathon. And I'll tell you why. It's a psychological thing. That first one, everybody is running as fast as they can to get to the finish line. It's a marathon that, it's speed, like what's your
Right.
pace and what's your gait. And
Yeah.
I don't that's just not my gig.
Yeah.
I love the marathon. I think it's a really honorable. I think it's harder than a 50 miler for me because you're going so fast, you're so intent. It's really, really tough. In an ultra marathon, if you go the average person, there's superheroes, of course, but the average person, if you go that fast and try to make you're never going to get there. You're going to
Right.
burn out and be.
Right.
And
Kind of
what
the
I
rabbit in the
like is
hair.
I like a slower pace.
Mhm.
You're moving, but you're on the trail and you're just going all day. And to me,
Right.
it's just more enjoyable and it's psychologically freeing to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, I
it's
like that.
just a different concept. And that's why I think the sport of running is so interesting because there's 5Ks, there's 10Ks, there's ultras, there's power walking, there's the trails in Japan or whatever, the movement of it all. You have a choice. It's like a giant buffet of what you can do, like, and how fast you want to go. And it's not, you don't have to compare yourself to anybody else. Cause I know a lot of people say, what's your pace? Like when I did that first marathon, my brother-in-law, who was a general in the Marines, he's at the finish line going, what took you so long? Like, oh, we were having fun. And he's going, what? And he's looking at his watch going, but you know what? I never cared.
Yeah.
I finished. And it's
Yeah.
like, that wasn't my goal. Maybe that's his goal.
Yeah.
That's how it should be for people to really find what do you wanna do and how do you wanna do it and how do you make
Right.
it your own?
Right. And enjoy it. Have fun doing it.
Yes,
I love
absolutely.
that, Molly. I love that. Yeah, I remember, I think it was last year when I was talking to Dr. Bill. Um, I was saying, that altitude for me, I noticed at like 10.5 started to be a little bit of an issue. I was getting a headache and a little bit feeling weird. And so I was going to start, trying to acclimatize a little bit more. And one of our goals was to do Mount Whitney. And I was feeling so proud of myself for this. It's like, we're gonna climb it. We're gonna get, the little lottery tickets, and this is gonna be one of my goals. And he's like, oh, Molly and I did a race, an ultra marathon from the lowest place in California up to the tallest place, which is Mount Whitney. We ran it all the way to the top. And I'm just like, okay, thank
He
you
is
for
so
that.
funny. Oh my gosh.
That was awesome, though. That was awesome. So, okay, what do you
Don't compare yourself to anyone else. You gotta do your thing. Hey, Mount Whitney, that's a tough climb to the top of that.
Yeah.
I don't care who's doing it or when. That's a beautiful goal.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's on hold right now. I mean, as most of all my followers know, I had a TBI, a traumatic brain injury, and so I am starting back with hiking very slow. We're just doing low mountains and trying to slowly get higher and higher and higher. So that's still for down the line, but
Yeah.
it's moved a little bit further down the line right now. But I want to know, at 67 years old, what kind of things are you doing? Because you run every day, I'm guessing, um, or most every day. You probably have a day off, I hope. Maybe?
Yeah, I have a couple days off. I'm
Okay.
not like I know that's a I'm very conservative about compared to what I used to do. I don't think that it's the amount. I think it's just the quality of the miles that you're putting in your consistency.
Mhm.
And I think so yeah, I don't run every single day. I take a
Okay.
couple days off and some
Okay.
I probably do two longer days and a longer
Mhm.
days like 10, 12 miles.
Okay.
Really, I'm a lot more conservative. It could
Yeah.
because too, I keep myself at a um, I don't know. I just know in the past, like when I was doing the big miles, when I was trying to do like 65 miles a week, I felt like it was tearing me down more than building me up. So I really switched to my own, like what did I feel like my body could tolerate and what do I really need? And it was a
Mhm.
lot less than and I think I was comparing myself to some of these super fast ultra runners at the podium people. They're putting in 60, 90 miles a week, 100 miles a
Yeah.
week. I mean, that's just too much for me. I can't tolerate that. So
Yeah.
it's a lot less, but more consistent and it balanced with floor stretches, exercises, and stuff like that.
That's really good information. That is
Yeah.
so important to know. And so it's again going back to finding what is working for your body, being that partner
Right, right.
body. I like that. So how do you prepare for a race food wise? I mean, I know you guys are, conservative, but yet you allow yourself some freedom a little bit here and there. But I mean, are you like, oh, I need to do carb loading or no? It's all over the place.
That is, I think that's a loaded statement. I had struggled for the first few years a lot with nutrition, like, I heard carb loading and big spaghetti dinners before and then, like, when you run that distance, your body doesn't wanna process food, and you need it so desperately, and then
Yeah.
you're eating it, and then I would be sick, during it, and you're throwing up in the middle of the race. I mean, that's a lot of issues people have is nutrition, and either during the race or, leading up to it, you're not getting enough. I think you have, I checked in with a nutritionist
Hmm.
a couple different times, and I've used different nutritionists during different times, and I feel like I have a really good grasp on what works for me, and I do believe that everybody's a little bit different. Bill
Right.
is totally different. My husband is totally different. The amount of water that man can take in, the amount of food, he never has a problem, like, during ultras and stuff, that guy can pack it in. I can't process that amount of food. It doesn't go. It
Yeah.
doesn't work. I have to have different kinds of foods. I really, I've gotten it down to science, like, for races. And also, if anybody ever wants to email me, or I'm happy to answer questions, like, specifically if anybody needs information that who's out there listening that wants to know. And I have some really good references for people that I use that they can
Okay.
check in with a great nutritionist and a really good coach and stuff like that. So just let me know. But
Yeah.
because it's such a big subject, I just think you have to find how your body processes and then go with, like, you do need 40 to 60 grams of carbs per hour in a race. You need to be finding that somewhere. You just can't run on nothing.
Right.
And
So
is
you
that gonna
take,
be a liquid? What?
right. So do you take things with you then when you're doing these longer races?
Oh, I take all my own stuff because I
Okay.
don't trust what the race has.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're good and sometimes you go there and go, "Oh my gosh, this is not, this is stuff that
Uh-huh.
doesn't work for me." So I have a little pack and I have my stuff and I have a drop bag where I can pick up more stuff and put it in there during the race. And so it's a whole I lay out I have it down to I have every little baggie for every hour for every it's all planned out. So I'm not
Yeah.
just haphazardly trying to figure out what to eat. And you have to do that if you plan on making it that distance.
Right.
I want and my goal, by the way, is to finish really happy, healthy, so I can go out to have a party with friends if I want to after. That's my
Right.
goal when I finish a race. It's not to be completely depleted and out of it for a week.
Collapse. Yeah.
Yeah, collapse. No, I don't
I
do
like that. Yeah, no, that's really, really good. Especially, as we're getting older, we have so many, goals that we want to still do. We have a life to still live. We have, I think, that's one of my big things with aging is, I know the whole theory of, evolution, and once we get to a certain age, nature doesn't need us anymore. But I like to look at it a different way. We're now no longer needing to populate the earth, as they say, but now our wisdom is needed. And there's so much going on in our world today. People need those of us who have lived, we've been there, we've done that. What are you doing? How are you surviving? How do you look forward to tomorrow? What are you looking forward to? And we can pass this wisdom on. I mean, I get heartbroken when I hear somebody from, World War II that has just passed away or something. And it's like, so much wisdom just left
I
us,
know.
and
Yeah.
I know that nature can use that. It needs to be using that. And I think nature is saying to us, I gave you a body that can adapt, but you need to learn how to work with me. And we're going to go on with this and we're going to keep this going. And you're going to feed these people over here because they don't know what they're doing so
Yeah.
many times. And maybe that's just, my own cellular mind talk that's going on, but that's okay with me. Um, but there is so much that we can still do and we need to learn to do. And you are living proof of this, my friend, and you're learning how to eat. So did you just learn how to do what you're doing from being sick in the middle of the race and learning what you have to do to not be sick? Do you still
Yeah.
get sick in the race?
Rarely, rarely.
Okay.
Although it's such a long race, and if it really gets hot, say it's like 80 degrees and you weren't expecting it, and that heat really can change. There's so many things that can change up in that
Yeah.
distance. It's so much time. So never say never, but I certainly have a really good handle on it when I didn't in the past. And there's certain things that I was eating in the past that I thought everybody else is eating it and I'd eat it and it's like, oh, like potato chips, like chips. And a lot of people will say, oh, just have chips in the middle of the race because you have to have some solid food. You get sick of just the liquid or the
Right.
gels or whatever. And I didn't realize it, but until really the grease, chips are really greasy and they were hitting my stomach like that, just like tore my stomach up. And it's
Mm.
something seems like so innocent.
Yeah.
But yeah, none of that. Just, I like more pure foods. I like
Uh-huh.
maybe 5 things that I have that are more natural, pure foods that I'm eating that are easily digestible and that I'm getting
Such
my
as,
calories. Pardon me?
can you tell us what those are?
Yeah, there's some really good natural gels, that a lot of runners use. One's spring gel. I think it's like, uh, brown rice, and I think it's molasses, and it's a real natural. Some have a little, it's like an applesauce. They taste really good. It's
Wow.
just a small gel. It's packed with like 100 to 130 calories, and it's easily digestible. And some of those gels, that's really good. The Huma is another really good gel. I've used both of those with great success.
Hmm.
And then sometimes I make my own. This sounds weird, but little rice balls with full soy sauce in it, and I put them in a
Yeah.
baggie. Or, um, you know, a lot of people do PB&J, but mostly I don't know. That's a little heavy for me sometimes. If it gets too heavy, the peanut butter that doesn't work. So I do like a little honey
Hmm.
sandwich. Just honey and bread, and it's calories and it's light, and I
Right.
just make little teeny squares. Um, you know, Uh, I kinda switch it up sometimes because 'cause you're also out there for a really long time and you get bored, you
Yeah.
know? I like, there's another, packet called Scratch, and it's just a powder that you put in your water that has lots of calories and electrolytes. So you're getting calories, you're getting electrolytes, the sodium and magnesium and stuff that really it tastes delicious, it's light, it's easy on your stomach. You suddenly feel like, "Oh, I can," y I feel it immediately when I drink it, especially if you have a really hot race, you better make sure that all those electrolytes are being replenished or you're just gonna tank. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the first thing
Yeah.
that goes. Even when you're hiking or walking, you should always have your electrolytes or something that's gonna replenish that.
Something. Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
lots of stuff like that.
Okay. Really good. Really good to know. So, I mean, Molly Sheridan, the world probably wants to know. I know this is probably going to be airing a little bit later, but episode one, we had Dr. Sandra Kaufman who was talking all about vitamins and supplements. Is there any one? I'm not going to ask you what everything is that you do, but is there any one supplement that you can look at and say, I would not live without this one? This one has to be with me every day. Is there anything or not?
Yeah, I really believe in the collagen powder.
Okay.
I think that has helped my recovery immensely. I
Okay.
just believe it. Um, I've had it and not had it, and I always feel better having it. I always feel like when I work out, I try to, and they have that chocolate flavor. There's a chocolate flavor you can put in your protein powder. So there's protein powder, which I love. I always have protein powder.
Okay.
I want to make sure I'm getting a ton of protein, especially for my muscles and stuff. So I throw in the collagen powder with that. I just think I I believe it, and according to Bill, Doctor Bill, he said there's peer-reviewed studies that it really does help. So I'd say those 2 things, the collagen and those are I always wanna have those in my diet.
Okay. Nice. Nice. And I'm so happy to hear another chocolate lover. I love my deep dark chocolates. Oh,
I know, what
so
is
hard to
that?
like break off a little square and say, this is going to be it for now, but just my
That's
little
it.
square. I know. I know. It's good though. I
But,
love
and also I love coffee. I like a cup of coffee in the morning, and when you
yes.
put that collagen chocolate powder in there and just kinda whip it up a little bit, it's just a nice way to start, and I feel like I'm just not having coffee, I'm also having some good nutrients in the morning
Yeah.
before I get going.
Nice. Very nice. Okay. So, can you give us a few of your favorite tips and tricks for somebody who's like never really run before? Maybe they're not really big into movements. And whether it's running or maybe they want to get out there and play tennis or go hiking or I don't know,
Okay,
go
number
walk around the
1.
mall. What do they do?
This is so easy.
Okay.
Number 1, go get fitted for a really good pair of shoes, and I don't mean go to the store and pick out these really cute purple ones that you just love and they look good and you've seen the ads. You need to go to a running store, a professional running store that has a professional person that fits your shoe to your foot. People are pronated, supinated. People don't stand up. People have high arches, low arches. I can't tell you how important it is to get those shoes fitting you perfectly. And there's so many brands, as we know. I
Mhm.
mean, a really popular brand, Hoka's. Everybody. in the running community really switched to Hokas. I cannot wear Hokas. They just don't go with the arch of my foot. I cannot. They're really great shoes, and a lot of people love them. I have a certain shoe that I really like, and they change the brands, but that is your number one most important equipment. You're pounding the pavement, literally.
I
So,
I can vouch for that from the standpoint that I was from Florida. I lived in Florida for like 30 plus years. I did get fitted for an athletic shoe for like a trail running kind of shoe. Um, but without socks because in Florida, I mean it gets up to 100 degrees and 89% humidity, so I didn't wear socks. And, that was the normal thing there. And so I got fitted without socks. And then I was up in North Carolina going into the mountains, going hiking, and I was told, you better wear socks. So I wore socks with shoes that were not fitted for socks. And both of my big toes got extremely bruised. I lost the toenail on one
oh
foot
man, yeah.
and I was limping. So I can vouch for
Robin,
just being able to do it.
that's a really good point because you don't want cotton socks either. You want wicking socks that takes
Yes.
the sweat away so you're not getting blisters.
Yeah.
My shoes to me are slippers. I don't want to ever think about my feet. I don't want to ever I don't have issues with I don't really ever have any issues.
Yeah.
I have to say because I wear regularly I wear a 9.5, but my running shoes are 10.5. I always
Hmm.
go a size bigger with cushy socks so that I'm wearing slippers.
Yeah.
I mean, in my head, I don't ever think about it. And
Yeah.
I think that you want that stability on the trail. You want that, really comfort and you want that impact taken. So there's so many choices out there, but
Yeah.
that's
Okay. That was a great one. Okay. What's next?
um, okay. Other secrets like for people just starting running?
Just starting.
I Okay, if you're at 0 out there, listener, and you haven't really done anything in a long while, after you get your new pair of shoes and you just get a, really nice, comfortable pair of running shorts or running tops, wicking away and some comfortable stuff that you're going to move in.
Right.
I would say, just start out easy. Start out walking and just power walk. Walking is just as beneficial as running, people.
Mhm.
Everybody, it is just as beneficial. I like to run. And I like that energy of movement a little bit more, but I also like walking, walk, run. Walk for a minute, run for a minute,
Right.
or walk for 2 minutes, run for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's how you start out slow and you look around and you just take in the beauty, take deep breaths, really let your body just get into the mode of movement. It's a fun and beautiful experience. It is not supposed to be out there, go run as fast as you can down the street and you feel like crap.
That's
I
only
don't
when
want
you
to
need
do
to
that.
catch a bus, right?
Yeah, and also, being a longer lived athlete, even now when I get out on the trail, I'm gonna take a few minutes, 5 and 10 minutes to walk, breathe, get my mind into the set. What do I want to accomplish today? How long, am I gonna be? Hopefully you have that ahead of time. Like what's your purpose for the day? And just make it happen in a really great way. And if your purpose, maybe you're having a day you want to pick up the pace and you want to do a little bit more, put that into your schedule and gradually make it a little bit more every day, maybe a few extra minutes. I don't necessarily advise people to do it by miles. A lot of people
Mhm.
go, I'm going to do a mile today, 2 miles. I say go by minutes. If you go by minutes, you're going to take a 20 minutes and really make that 20 minutes work, and then 30 minutes, and then
Mhm.
40 minutes, and work up to an hour. An hour a day is really a nice amount of outdoor activity, not killing yourself, but a really good movement. But if you haven't done anything, that's more like 10, 15 minutes. The next day, 20. Just be easy on yourself. Get into a pattern of consistency. The other thing I really like is to get a journal and write your progress. Because at first you feel like, oh, I'm not doing anything. And oh my gosh, I'm so slow. I haven't done anything. I'm at 0. Get those out of your head, put every day what your progression is, and then when you look back after a couple weeks to see where you've come in a couple of short weeks, you can really make big improvements in your life. A
Yeah.
month is really good, and then you see, "Oh my gosh, I am making progress. I am doing better."
Yeah.
And yeah, I think mantras are really good. Having a mantra that you're saying that, I'm strong. I'm doing so good. I'm proud of myself today. I'm out here.
Yeah.
Anytime the negative comes in, oh my gosh, whatever. We're so bad, like,
Yeah.
oh, you're just going too slow, or no, you have your mantra. I'm strong. I'm great. I'm out here kicking ass.
Yeah.
I'm powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. That in itself is powerful. I think we need to do that self-talk every single day. So
I do
important.
too.
What else? Anything?
Oh my gosh, just lots. I
Yeah.
mean, I could go on and on. I mean,
Yeah.
when I'm on trails now, hey, this is a new thing that I've been doing. Trail poles, poles.
Yes. We do those
I
in
think,
hiking.
yeah, especially if you're going someplace where you're not sure about the terrain and
Mhm.
maybe you're a little bit nervous that maybe it's got a lot of rocks or whatever. And, just have your poles and move with your poles a little more steady. If you haven't been out there and you're not sure about your strength and your legs and stuff like that. I think it's everybody in Europe uses poles. It's
Yeah.
so funny, like on every trail, you just see everybody out there. And here in America, I don't think that's as popular, but
Yeah.
really think it's a great piece of equipment.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's gaining hopefully it's gaining popularity. I know that, we have like a local trail that we'll do because it's super close to us. There's probably like 50 different trails within the one park. And part of it is it's like you said up and down all the hills and everything. But there's a lot of it's like a dirt gravel trail. But a lot of areas it gets really loose dirt because especially in the summer here in California, there's
Right,
no rain. Um, it gets slippery because of that loose dirt, but then you've
right.
got rocks, you've got roots coming across the road, you've got a sharp turn around a tree, and while you're climbing, and those poles, and we did it once without the poles, and we were like huffing and puffing as we're trying to get up around this, like, our cardio is better than this. What is going on? And then the next time we even had to pause afterwards and just catch our breath. And then the next time we did it with our poles,
Yeah,
and it was like night and day.
there you go.
And it wasn't that the poles were taking so much of our weight, but it was helping to keep us balanced. And so
That's
we
it.
didn't have to exert so much energy. And it did help to pull up a little bit, as we're
It
going up
does.
the hill.
And it's good
But
exercise for your arms at the same
oh
time
my
you're going
gosh,
forward.
my arms
Yeah.
are
And if you
round.
slip or whatever, the
Yes.
stability. Yeah.
Yes. And crossing rivers.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys.
The other thing I wanna mention too is that there's so many run groups.
Mhm.
If you are by yourself and you need a little motivation to get in a run group, there's a great run group here in Reno. It's a ladies group called the 520 Club. These guys I'm so impressed. The 520, I go, "What does 520 stand for?" They go, "5:20 AM." They all have kids, they're all working. They meet every Tuesday and Thursday at 5:20 AM. Rain, shine, snow, those ladies are out there, and they run, walk, no person's left behind. It's safe in the group where they go in a park. I just think something like that, for trying to find in your community, like, who's meeting
Yeah.
and what's going on? I think that really helps to your motivation when someone's waiting for you out there or the team is waiting for you. It really helps keep that consistency too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Do you have any advice for those people who are like, I know especially in this age group, they maybe wake up in the morning and, whether they're going through menopause or whatever, they didn't sleep very well, or they're waking up with aches and pains, and they're just like, it's so not worth it. I'm just going to go in there and grab a bowl of cereal and just sit and read the newspaper or something. I mean, do you have any like lighthearted advice to just, get them out of that comfort zone?
well, I'll tell you what I have done in the past. And that is, first of all, everyone has those days. It's hard to get into a system, especially at first. I had headphones right next to my bed, and I had like my wacky AC/DC music or whatever. And I put those headphones on, and I just do not listen to the other part of me saying, "Don't do it. You're tired, blah, blah." The music's on. I'm going dancing or
Yeah.
whatever.
I like that.
I'm out there, and I just don't listen because it is easy to say, "Oh, my pillow's so cozy," or I'm gonna go sit in my coffee, because I know that I know that I know I always feel better. I'm proud of myself when I get out there. My mind is clear. I'm ready for the day. I like early morning get up and out. Some people like afternoons or whatever works for you. But in the morning, I put on headphones if I have to. Like I just am struggling. The other thing is, oh, I just have just my wacky ideas. I have a schedule and I pretend this is really weird, but it's like it's like an appointment I keep with myself that's the most important appointment.
Yeah.
That is time with my making my body stronger and healthier. That is an appointment. Like you keep your appointment with your dentist and your doctor and
Right.
every place you go to improve yourself. Why aren't you keeping an appointment with yourself for that most important thing of the day? Everything else falls into place when you keep that appointment. So I think finding these tricks or having your I really do really love the my book I have, my login book, my workbook that
Yeah.
tracks everything. Cause then I also on those days, look what you've done. I mean, you're really at a good point. Don't blow it. Keep it in. You look at your goal. Is it important? Why are you doing it? I don't know. You really have to the mental strength is is something that I don't think we're born with. I think you find it out there on the trails. I think you find it within yourself when you make that commitment to get out there
Yeah.
and even laugh about it when you're out there going, okay, it's a crap day. It is like sprinkling. I am out here. I'm out there laughing by myself going, if anybody saw me, they'd probably think I'm a lunatic. But you know what? There is joy in it. You are a badass, even if you're by
Absolutely.
yourself out there. You have to get and find it and make it happen. I have to do it with joy, and I have to do it with a certain amount of fun, and I just try to find that. I'm my own party.
Yeah.
I'm
I like that. We would get along so well.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
hey, grab a girlfriend and see after we finish this, we're gonna go have a girls' drink.
Yeah,
Whatever it takes.
absolutely.
Yeah, go
Absolutely.
shopping.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Hey, I run this far today. I get that blue dress in the window.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Gotta
Payoffs.
do it. Absolutely. Okay, so this one is gonna require a little bit of a thinking cap for you. I have several listeners who are wheelchair bound and feel that movement is not really in reach for them, but they still need that health benefit from movement. Do you have any ideas or suggestions? Obviously not running, but just to help get movement for somebody like that?
Well, I would suggest that they find a healthcare professional that is an expert in that field, in that physical therapy field with wheelchair bound. I know that there are occupational therapists
Hmm.
that do that, like with people that can't, like, because there's the rest of your body, your arms and there's exercises you can do sitting.
Right.
There's exercises I do on a plane when it's really long. I'm there stretching my shoulders, I'm moving side to side. I think that I think there's so many things you can do no matter what your disabilities are or abilities or uh, challenges are. I think it's trying to find a person that understands that really well and can help you with the exercises that you need. I would find that. I would find that. And I think there's lots of resources for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I like that. So now what about Kylie? Does she ever come out and go running with you anymore?
Oh, I just saw her. She's in Boston. She's so funny. Yeah, we hook up. She's just still a dear friend. She never went the longer distances or anything, but she did laugh at me. I wrote the book Running Past Midnight about my exploits, and she's in there. She will forever. In fact, I'm doing the talk in Boston.
Uh-huh.
Um, at the end of June and January, and she's gonna meet me over there, and we're having a girls' weekend after.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Have
she's
fun. Well, tell
a dear
Kylie we
friend.
said hello and thank you for getting for getting you started. I did see I had to smile when I got your email and I noticed your signature. You've got runner and author, but you have nomad at the end. Do you spend days where you just go out and wander with, no end in
Yeah,
sight? You
I'm
don't really
pretty
know what
much
you're
of
doing.
a yeah, I can disappear easy. I'm super independent that way. I really like the solitude that running brings, and I like adventures that I don't have a problem being by myself. Like, I think ultramarathons are a really solitary, cool adventure mentally, and I think, oh, well, there's so many. That's such an interesting that has just blown my mind, your
Oh,
question. And yeah, nomad, I put that
you're
next
welcome.
because I kinda I feel like I am. I can pick up and go. I've I love to travel, and if somebody can't go with me, I don't have any problem going by myself and being somewhere in, like, Japan, the Kono Kodo Trail. It's a spiritual journey. One of the most spiritual places, in Japan is the Kimono Kodo, and you go to 3 different shrines there, and I had been fascinated for years, and I just, you know, went, and that was really cool. Same with Spain. I mean, I've spent some time by myself on the trails there that just
You
I
never
think
get
that's why I call
nervous?
myself a nomad. I don't know.
Uh-huh. Do you ever
There's
get
so
nervous
many.
when you're out there by yourself on those big long trails?
Yeah, yeah. It's I think it helps you to know who you really are at the core of yourself, like, and I don't think that I could have found that on my sofa,
Yeah,
flat out.
yeah.
I think it takes movement to go deep. I think any kind of movement or any kind of something that, wakes your brain up, you know? And I think it did with me with the motion of running.
Mhm.
I think that woke me up into, like, who I really am and, like, the deep understanding of myself as a person, and putting myself in unusual positions that I never thought I'd ever be in, but then I found myself there because I just kinda let myself go to experience, like, what does that mean to do a big, giant, long race? When I flew to Africa to do the Marathon des Sables, it's 150 miles through the Sahara Desert.
Uh-huh.
I was on a plane. When I called up to get information about this race. You land in Morocco and then they take you to the desert. So I called up and said, "Hey, I want to get information." They go, "Oh, it's a 2-year wait list to even get there. They only take 50 Americans. It's 700 Frenchmen in a race that's a French race." And I said, "Okay." They go, "But you know what? A spot just popped up. Do you want it?" I go, "Yeah." I got off the phone. I go, "Oh my God, I'm going to
I'm
Africa."
in it now.
Yeah, I'm in it now. And I thought, "Oh, have you lost your mind?" It's like I'm on the plane going over there going, "Okay,
Uh,
if you have to, have all your supplies on your back, 25 pounds, and run through the Sahara Desert, be completely self-sufficient for 7 days." And the nomadic tribe, the Berber tribe, you get to a certain point, they pop up a lean-to for you for the night, and then you continue the next day with a map and a compass. Well, I had never done any of that. So it's like, but yeah, that's why I call myself the nomad, because I jumped into it like, I know this sounds crazy, but it was like, I didn't say, "Oh, Molly's gonna go run 150 miles." I go, "How far can I get? Like, what will happen when I get there? And how," and I prepared myself, but that's my thinking is like, put yourself in a position like to see what happens. And it was one of the great adventures of my life. It was crazy. I think I
That's
was the oldest
awesome.
person out of that. There was only 14 women in the 50 Americans. And I think there was only 14 women that year in the Marathon des Sables race. It was like crazy. No,
Oh my
all
gosh.
men and it was just a crazy.
Yeah. That is amazing. I've noticed with you, we're very much alike in that you've got that youthfulness, that behavior that's like just wild, wants to dance, wants to play, laughs at yourself. Did that come before running or did
Oh,
running
yeah.
come first?
Yeah, I've always been this way.
Okay, good.
I just didn't know that I had any athletic ability.
Yeah, no, okay, okay, girls, come on. Okay, really fast questions for you.
Yeah,
Only a couple. Humidity or dry?
dry,
Dry. Okay. Cold or hot?
cold now.
Pavement or sand?
I'll take pavement.
Okay. All right, good. Favorite music while running?
While running? Oh my gosh. Okay, you know what? I listen to these African women drummers. I
Oh,
don't necessarily like to hear anybody singing, but I like beat.
mhm.
I like techno and beat, and so that I'm just doom doom. It's like that's where I'm thinking. I'm thinking above the music.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That is awesome. Do you have any last thoughts for people? Like any last tips or anything that you want to let people know about?
Yeah, I just wanna say, if you're listening, you know, I just I wanna encourage anybody who really hasn't been doing anything and just has a desire to better their body that I just wanna tell them it's such a joy to jump into it, and don't be afraid of it. It's really a joy, and to find out, go experiment or go just, make the decision to change yourself. I truly believe that if all of us on this planet were moving in some way every day, running, walking, really taking care of ourselves, and with through movement, the joy of movement, I think we'd be a happier place to be. I think people would let out a lot of their frustration and anxiety and find more peace and happiness by running. That my mission is to try to reach as many people as I can to try to just what can I do to help you to, express yourself in a better way through movement.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm certainly there to help and answer questions, and again, you can always reach me, through Desert Sky Adventures or
That was my next question. How do people get a hold of you? Are you on Instagram or just
I'm
Desert
on
Sky?
Instagram, Molly Sheridan Runs. They can
Okay.
reach me there. Facebook, I try to pop in every now and then, but, mostly it's Instagram where I really do my posts and spend more time.
Okay. Wonderful. And you guys, that will be in the show notes too with her Instagram. Molly, thank you. I think you found the name of your next book if you decide to write another book. It's Find the Joy.
Find the joy. Yes,
Find the joy.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Robin, thanks so much. I've totally enjoyed this. I can't
You.
wait to just have more time with you. You're just
I
such
know,
a joy. Yeah.
I know. I well, my husband just said, "Hey, do you want to go to Reno? He's got something there you might want to pick up. He's trying to decide or not." I'm like, "Yes, let's do
Absolutely.
it."
Yay. That sounds fun. Let's do it.
We absolutely have to get together at some point in time. But thank you so very much for this. I know you're going to inspire so many people, and you guys, all of her information will be in the show notes. But if you have a chance to go out and hear her, you're at the Boston Marathon. You're speaking there. Any other speaking events coming up?
Yeah, this Boston Run Show is
Okay.
January 27th and 28th in Boston at the Convention Center. It's huge. I mean, it's called the Boston Run Show, so that's really big. A
Okay.
couple more coming up. Don't know the titles. I'll have to get that to you because I try to pop in different
Yeah.
places to speak and help people as I can.
Awesome, and I'm sure
But
it'll be
thank
on your Instagram page too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome, awesome.
Thank
Well,
you so
again,
much.
thank you so much, Molly, and, we will be in touch soon, and I can't wait for everybody to see you run and see this episode and be inspired by you, so thank you.
Thanks so much. Have a great one. Take care.
You too. And that concludes our show, you guys. Thank you so much for listening to this bonus episode about a mom who turned runner and a motivational speaker, following her through her journey and her aging triumph. We tried to drop some nuggets of gold really throughout this show for anyone who's interested in starting the sport, or maybe you're just beginning getting movement into your daily activity. Either way, I think you're going to find some good information in there. If you have any questions for Molly, please be sure to drop them underneath the poster for this show on Instagram. Again, all of the links will be in the show notes. And on top of that, any of our vetted, tried and true affiliate sponsors will also be listed. And we thank you and we thank them for supporting our show. Be sure to give us a like or a thumbs up wherever you listen. And if you did enjoy this motivational show, please do let me know. And you can go over to IG and again, post that on the poster. And just let me know. And please tell your friends because every single listen really does matter for us. The next episode, you're going to be hearing a little bit from Bill Andrews, who is a scientist, a pioneer in his own right, and also a runner, and also happens to be Molly's husband. He'll be discussing telomeres and telomerase, and I think you're going to want to hear what he has to say. Until next time, you guys, be ageless, and let's strive a little bit harder every single day. do what we need to do to become partners with our bodies and become ageless. Thanks for listening, you guys.